Hello, good evening and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club. It's Sunday evening for you endurance fans. We're here for round 3 at the Temple of Speed Monza for the Virtual Racers Club Hybrid Prototype Endurance Championship. Like I said, round 3 at Monza. Pat is joining us this round in his, hang on, let me get this straight, a Toyota TS050 with a lovely Gulf livery. I like it. Very good, very good, very good. We've only got a few more minutes before the start of the race for an hour and a half of racing here at Monza. I'm trying to see 90 minutes. They can only use racing soft tyres once during the race for one stint, and they line up on the grid in reverse of the championship, which I'll have a look at. I don't think there's anything more to tell you really. We use the Group 1 hybrids. I don't think they're any later than 2012. It's pretty straightforward. They go racing for an hour. HPEC stands for the Hybrid Prototype Endurance Championship. Is a modern Group 1 league focusing on the cutting edge post-2012 Group 1 cars and long tactical races. HPEC is one of the most demanding leagues going in VRC, with every 10th counts on every lap. And so yeah, it's 10 weeks, 10 different circuits for 90 minutes of racing. And the first 2 rounds have been humdingers, I must say. So I am looking forward to this at Monza. It's going to be cracking. Let's have a look around then. Rido. I can't think if Rido's raced in HPEC before. Maybe not. So maybe this is Rido's first. It'd help if I looked at the table, wouldn't it? And then I'll tell you the reverse of the table. Oh, we can work that out. So far in the championship, let me tell you, we have RS Binko sitting on the top with 36 points, with Matt Psycho in second on 34 points. IR Graham is third on 32 points. Skyjacker fourth on 23 points. Racer Brown fifth after missing last round on 22 points. Jim, unfortunately, I think he's pulled out, in sixth on 21 points. It's a shame because he was doing okay there in the mid pack. Rivixter in 7th on 19 points. Daz on 8th with 14 points. He started last round. Cymex 9th with 12 points. He didn't make last round, but you can't make this round either, I believe. Oh yeah, Rido was there for the first round. He missed last round. He's on 8 points. Pop Motorsport on 7 points. He only made the first round. And Liam Anfield unfortunately hasn't been able to make it, and nor has Jokas. So on the grid, I think Pat will be on the pole, and then it'll probably be Rido, then Daz, or Kale's there as well. I don't think Kale's, oh, I don't know. We'll see the grid when the grid gets there, because there's a few new names. There's Kale there. Oh, Kale, that's lovely. What are you driving then, my friend? You're going for the Toyota TS030 Hybrid. So it's a lower model than the TS050, but we saw Racer Brown in round 1 do absolute wonders in that Toyota. So, and we saw there's IR Graham. Unfortunate for IR Graham. We know that Audi, it does not build up its hybrid very well in a straight line. So here at Monza, I don't know how the Audi's going to do. He's gone fastest in practice so far. So that's something. Oh, in the chat, we've got a load of people. Hang on. Skyjacker saying, hey, beautiful. I don't think he's talking to me. Must be Racer Brown. He's the one underneath. Racer Brown, hello. How is everyone? Adam Hawley says, hi all. Hi, thingy. Yay, it's me. Patrick Spence says, hello. Sorry, Pat, I didn't mean to full name you. Mama Sykes is in the chat. Hello, everyone. Have a good one. Hi, thingy. Hi, Mama. And Skyjacker there saying, Pat, Kale, Rido, Daz, Riv, Racer Brown, me, Skyjacker, IR Graham, Matt, and Bink. That's the grid. And Flashman says evening all. So wow, the chat is active. Skyjacker's asking if we are ready. So let me get in there with a big R and see how many people I can influence early doors. Oh, Racer Brown's got an R. Pat went for an R. Oof, look at this. The Empire can win. Daz has gone for a smaller R. I did try that smaller R out, but it just seems a little limp. Graham, he's staying on the fence there. He does not want to be a rebel or part of the Empire. It's just yes. Adam in the chat saying just Adam is all good for me, dude. Oh, did I full name you too? Sorry, Ads. Adam, sorry, man. I get all excited, I just read it. I'm like Anchorman. You can put anything on there and I'll just read it out. So IR Graham then is the fastest in the Audi. I was having a look around. There is a Matt Psycho. He's just parked up to check a bit of telemetry on his Porsche, I believe. Yeah, Porsche. Daz out there, also in a Porsche. That's nice, isn't it? That's a lovely piece of a livery going on there. Oh yeah, I like it. Oh, Alienware, nice, 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 nice. Pat also with the Gulf in that Toyota. Waiting for Binko. Binko hasn't said the okay yet. Kale, we saw. Yeah, lovely piece of Toyota machinery there, and the rest of the guys. Rivixter in the BVT Toyota. Racer Brown in his Toyota. I believe his is Cass. I don't know. I think it's an electronics company. I don't know. I can't remember. We'll see when it's out there. Matt Psycho's back in the pits. Rido is there in the pits. Skyjacker sitting in the pits, and Binko. And Binko says he is ready, so we'll see that countdown come in. So how is IR Graham in that Audi going to fare with these long straights? Because it looked like it was the straight lines that was foiling him, that he couldn't build up his hybrid, his battery, his boost. Talleyrand's in the chat saying hey all. Flashman also. I like Pat's matching helmet too. Oh, I didn't notice. I'll have a look next time. So there is Pat on the front, ahead of Kale. Rido in third, Daz fourth, Rivix to fifth, Racer Brown in sixth, Skyjacker seventh, IR Graham eighth, Matt Psycho in ninth, and Binko 10th place. Let me get rid of those big numbers because they do get in the way. And we'll wait for Pat to lead them off towards the grid here at the Temple of Speed. We are not worthy for such greatness. And this is daunting for Pat, his very first round in the hybrids. He's obviously had a bit of practice, but in a crowd, into that first chicane is so scary. Here they come. It looks like Rido already making a move on Kale. Kale not as fast as Rido in a straight line. My word, they are catching up Kale quickly. Daz also. Pat makes it through. Rido's very fast behind, and whoa, Kale all over the place, and Kale's had a little off already. Daz moving on. IR Graham moving up into fourth place with Skyjacker in fifth. Wow, IR Graham has made his way through the field with Racer Brown there in sixth ahead of Rivixter. Kale down to eighth with that small off, and he's only got Binko behind him as Matt Psycho's moving past there. We've got 90 minutes of racing, guys. You don't have to do it all on this first lap as they all make it through that second chicane, it seems. Oh my word. So Pat is still leading by a second from Rido. Rido 4/10 ahead of Daz. Daz on a push at the moment. Daz looking to make a move on Rido down these straights. Let's push that push on Audi action. As they come down, we're looking at the long shot side by side, and that looks like Daz has definitely got himself ahead. Wow, that Porsche has definitely got to pump some sort of oomph in the straights. Rido, he is in the Audi, isn't he? He's got IR Graham, the second Audi, just behind him. And IR Graham having a look also. Poor Rido, he's in free fall, he's touched the grass, but he's just saved it. Lost the position to IR Graham and to Skyjacker. Skyjacker up into fourth place now. Excuse me, with Racer Brown down in sixth. Rivixter is in seventh ahead of Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho not making his way through like the other guys. Binko in ninth, and we saw Kale having that off, and he's down there in 10th, but it's a longer race to go. What is he driving now? A Toyota. Whoo-wee. And I Bunting in the chat saying evening all with the checkered flags, and oh no, we got a yellow flag in the mid-pack there somewhere. Rido in fifth. It looks like Matt Psycho's moved up. It's Binko's moved up. Kale, oh, is it Rivixter? Is it Rivixter that we got the yellow flags for? I'm not sure. In that chicane, there seemed to be an issue. Rivixter in there fast. Late on the brakes it may have been for Rivs, but they've all had to give it a bit of a lift to get around Rivixter, and there you go. Oh, poor Rivixter down into 10th place, but like I said, 90 minutes. Oh, more yellow flags. Pat's leading from IR Graham. IR Graham up into 2nd place. He got himself ahead of Daz. Racer Brown now up into 4th. Rido. Oh, it's Skyjacker. We can't see Skyjacker. My gosh. These guys struggling with the speeds here. Skyjacker up into 4th and is around. Oh, is that the Lesmos? I'm not sure. I haven't got my map. But yes, Skyjacker losing the back end of his Toyota. And he's there making sandcastles, and he's down to 10th place now. That's our 3rd 10th place in these laps. So it's a long way to go, like I keep saying. Pat still leading by 2 seconds from IR Graham. Pat having an amazing debut out there. It is a matching helmet and it does look awesome. Pat then finishing the 2nd lap. He got the fastest lap, but IR Graham's taken that with a 33.9 next to Pat's 34.9. He's a 2nd faster at the moment, is IR Graham. Daz there in 3rd in his Porsche, keeping a track of those two. Racer Brown now up into 4th with Skyjacker falling off the track. Rido in 5th, Matt Psycho in 6th, with Binko very close behind. Binko and Matt Psycho, the 2 championship leaders. Kale now up into 8th. We saw he was down. Look at them weaving out of the chicane. It's so tight. 9th for Rivixter, and Skyjacker now in 10th place. Ooh-wee, Adam, short track, so plenty of scrapping, I'm telling you. So far, Pat has lost a bit of time. He had that up to 2 seconds. It's down to 1.5 seconds as IR Graham makes his way through in the Zing Grey Audi. And Daz not too far behind him with 1.8 seconds behind him. 2.7 for Racer Brown. Racer Brown did a 36.7 his first flying lap, with Daz doing a 35.8. So Daz getting purples as well. Daz truly on. He's had a bionic knee, I believe, lately, and look at him. Rido out of control. Rido is out of control and he's off the track. Oh my word. Another person to get the last place, I believe, unless Skyjacker is having more issues. I can't see Skyjacker coming through. Yeah, Skyjacker has gone through, and there is Rido. Oh, poor Rido, just 1 single second, a millisecond, a wheel just off of the track, and it kills you. There goes Pat crossing the line to start lap 4, still leading round 3 of the HPEC. And he's doing a fine job out there. A 34.1 his last time around. IR Graham doing a 33.3, which is the fastest so far out of everyone. Daz is 2 seconds adrift of those now with a 34.203. Racer Brown 2.3 seconds adrift of Daz. He did a 34.101 last time around, but Binko now is up into 5th. He somehow got himself ahead of Matt Psycho, and Binko on the move in his Porsche. 35.3 last time around from him. He's 5 seconds adrift from Racer Brown, but only 4/10 ahead of, oh yes, what a view from Matt Psycho, sitting on board with a Matt Psycho as we head around. I've got the maps, I can tell you the corners, I really can. I don't memorise them because I'm not that geeky. I love a racing, but I can't remember corners. I can't even remember tracks half the time. Oh, look at me. I'm looking through all this paperwork. Maybe I never drew Monza because I thought, oh, that's easy, it's memorable. There's only like 3 corners. No. Oh, yeah. So what did I call them? I don't know, I've just scribbled it all out for some reason. That's the Parabolica they're going through right now. Curva Grande is turn 3 after the chicane. Kuros and Lesmos, that's a couple of corners, then one's in that square bit. Curva del Sereglio, something Ascari. I know, it's terrible, isn't it? And I commentate on the bloody race. I don't even know the corners. I'm shocked. I'm sorry guys, it's terrible. So Adam saying don't lose your voice thingy. I know. I've already done that. Screaming out to a little bit of death metal. It was a Taylor Swift cover band. Oh, and Pat's way off. He's lost the lead. We missed that as I was sat on board with Matt Psycho, and now he's really pushing that car to its limits, that Toyota, and he's lost second place as well. Poor Pat. Come on, Pat. You can do this. You've been great for the first part of this race. Get it back under control. Racer Brown is only 9/10 behind, and he is coming with great force. Matt Psycho is making a move on Bingo. We sat on board all that time, and then he makes the move when we go. Thanks, Matt. Cheers, bud. So Matt Psycho has made the move on Bingo and moved up into 5th place, with Bingo down into 6th. Kale coming through in 7th, with Skyjacker up into 8th ahead of Rivixter and Rido, we saw earlier, having a huge off in 10th place. Hyle Graham then leading the way by 2.4 seconds. We're on lap 6. He's not even 8 minutes into this race yet. So much action so far, with Daz at 2 seconds down from that. Pat coming back, having a nibble at the Daz. Sat on board with Pat in his Toyota TSO50, chasing down Daz, who I believe's in a Porsche. And we've got Racer Brown in a Toyota TSO30 sitting behind us. Can we look at that? Oh, he's got a bit of breathing space before Racer Brown. Yeah, 1.7 seconds. But Daz is definitely under harassment from Pat. Pat just, oh yeah, Pat, do it, baby. He's squeezing it right through those corners. Oh, he slung that but one. Oh, Pat. This driving is great stuff. He's in the toe now. Can he pull alongside the Porsche coming into this corner, Ascari or whatever? And there he goes over the curves, and he's made it stick. Has he made it stick? He's there in 2nd place. Daz down into 3rd. But oh no, Pat's way off the track. Can he keep it? No, Daz is coming back at him, and Daz takes that 2nd spot. Meanwhile, Racer Brown getting ever closer to these guys as they battle it out. Matt Psycho now in 5th ahead of Binko. We saw that move just at the tail end. Skyjacker's got himself ahead of Kale. Kale struggling out there in 8th, and he's got Rivixter coming towards him, and Rido has gone. Rido DNF. His car has gone kaput. IR Graham 5.4 second lead now, and Racer Brown, he's overtaken 2 in one go. That deserves a bit of a there you go, up the inside of the Parabolica, and he makes his way past both cars virtually. And now Racer Brown up into 2nd spot, chasing down IR Graham. Ooh, there you go. It's not going to just cut away. Oh no, he hasn't. Pass back. Sorry, it was the wrong time to take a replay on it. So Pat in the 2nd chicane ahead of Daz. So Racer Brown dropped behind both of them while we watched the replay of him overtake both of them. I apologise. Matt Psycho 3.3 seconds. He's catching those guys up at 33.998 last time around from him, with Bingo doing a 34.2 in his relentless Porsche. There you go. Get in there. Flashman saying perfect Italian accent thingy. Well, yeah, thank you. And Adam saying loving the livery on the VRC Daz. Yeah, they all look cracking. Oh no, Rivers has gone as well. Oh no, it's an epidemic. Oh my word, Kale there. He's still in the game. 1.8 seconds behind Rivixter, behind Skyjacker. Oh, poor Rivixter's gone as well. So IR Graham is leading by 7.8 seconds from Pat. Pat is ahead of Racer Brown, who's got himself ahead of Daz. I haven't even taken note of tyres. Let me have a look. Medium tyres for IR Graham. Softs for Pat. Racer Brown is on the medium tyres also, so that must be what Pat's issue is at the moment. He's losing grip, I imagine. Daz there, he's also on those medium tyres. Psycho has gone for the mediums also, ahead of Binko's mediums. Skyjacker on the mediums, and Kale on the mediums. Rido, not a huge fan of HPEC, lol. Oh, Rido, but you were doing so well for a couple of laps. You were there, holding your own. Behind Pat, I was thinking you were doing good. But yeah, you get punished. One wheel off, and these cars are punishable. Punishable. Jaja Binks. You will be punished. So IR Graham leading from Pat. Pat doing a cracking job on his debut. He's ahead of Racer Brown 1.1 seconds. He is on the soft tyres, which means he cannot choose them again for the rest of the race. Whereas the other guys, the soft tyres are still an option. Daz losing a position to Matt there. We just caught it. Matt slinging one up the inside, and Matt is a man possessed. He wants to get through. He's leaving Binko behind. The championship leader so far. Matt Psycho, we saw last week in round 2, was totally dominant. IR Graham trying to chase him down, but just could not stay with him, and we blamed the Audi because it seemed like his hybrid just was not topping up like Matt Psycho's Porsche. But there we see IR Graham 9.5 seconds in the lead now, a 33.4. He's in the 33, mid 33s. His fastest was a 33.1. Pat on those soft tyres, 34.6 last time around from him. Done a couple of 35s, staying ahead of Racer Brown, but Racer Brown, I reckon, is in massive fuel save out there at the moment, sitting in 3rd place. Matt Psycho in 4th. He's trying to catch him up. Matt Psycho doing a 33.7, then a 34.4, with Racer Brown's lap times at 34.3 last time. Oh, he did a 37.1 on lap 7. I'm sure that wasn't intentional. Daz then in 5th. We saw Daz holding on to those leaders for a while. And he was in them 34s all up to lap 5, but his tyres must have started slipping away from him because it's a 36, a 38 and a 36. Either that was just a little bit more pushing. Binko, I think, I don't know. I was going to say Binko's in a mad fuel save at the moment. His fuel seems about the same as those around him. Pat's got the best fuel tank out of the lot of them there in 2nd place. But he's being caught by a Racer Brown now. Sat on board with Racer Brown, he pulls out before he gets to the Parabolica, and the move is made before he commits to the wheel, and it's Canon. Canon is the sponsor of that Toyota. Graham crossing with the fastest, a 32.978. The Audi are looking very tidy around here. The last round it was looking like it was a struggle. Racer Brown though in that Toyota, 33.9. He's virtually on the same pace as IR Graham. Ads in the chat saying 9 minutes on Monza. Thumbs and butts are going to be hurt. Lol, yeah, definitely. Pat now then down to 3rd place. Still doing a cracking job up there with Matt Psycho in 4th place, trying to catch that little pack ahead of him. And Daz in 5th. He's got 9/10 on Binko. Binko catching him up then. And Binko there in 6th place with Skyjacker in 7th. 16 seconds behind Binko now, 15 seconds ahead of Kale. Kale had a rough lap that last lap at 1:47.5. Remember, Kale just jumping in. May not have had a lot of practice in these HPEC cars. You can't drive them on the grass, Kale, although you just did, so proves me wrong. Excuse me. Racer Brown moving. Oh, he was in 2nd. No, Matt Psycho's moved up. Pat must have had an issue. Pat must have had a small issue there. There goes Matt Psycho making the move up the inside, and Pat's just late braked himself a little bit, and he's just off wide. Poor Pat. But now in 4th. He's not 4th now because he's got Daz flying past. Daz on a move, but Daz is out wide. It's all wiggling and shuffling around in the Parabolica. It's crazy stuff, but Pat's still in 4th. But it looks like Binko's now moved up into 5th with Daz down in 6th place. But can Pat hold on to that 4th place with Binko very close behind? Binko looking up the inside for the chicane. And it looks like Binko's going to make the move. He's already made the move. He's committed. He's in and he's around. Brilliant stuff from Binko there. And Pat's back end stepping out, and he's lost it. Oh my god, he's hit Daz in the meantime. Daz is around. Oh my lord. Pat's probably just travelling slowly, waiting for Daz to get himself in the right direction. Skyjacker catching these guys up, possibly. He's just come through the chicane, and there is Daz just getting himself straight now, and Daz down into 6th. Pat, obviously, I believe, waiting for Daz. They're both green cars. Maybe you'll think Skyjacker is the green car. But Skyjacker making his way through, and this is helping Kale back into it. No, it's not, because Kale himself is struggling with the rear end of that Toyota. Hoo-wee, it's all action on lap 11. IR Graham is, oh God, what am I doing? IR Graham is leading from Racer Brown. Matt Psycho in third place with Binko up into fourth. Skyjacker is fifth now with Daz up in sixth. Pat has let them both through in seventh, and Kale there just using this as a test session, I imagine. Oh gosh, so IR Graham is leading on lap 12. And we're only 17 and a half minutes into this 90-minute race. And it's all action. These guys are racing like it's a sprint out there. And Racer Brown in second spot, 12 seconds adrift from IR Graham. A 33.2 his last time around, with IR Graham doing a 33.2 also. So Racer Brown struggling to gain ground on IR Graham. It's going to be about fuel, and Racer Brown's got a little bit more fuel than IR Graham, but nothing really to shout about. Matt Psycho, half a tank of fuel at the 20-minute mark, so he's looking to get, oh, it's not even 20 minutes, is it? It's 18 minutes. Dead on half tank. It's going to be about 36 minutes in when he's dead on fuel. So he's going to have to two-stop this one. But he's only 3 seconds behind Racer Brown. He did the 33.5 last time around, with Racer Brown doing a 33.2, we knew. Binko up into fourth place now, 6 seconds behind Matt Psycho, a 34.7 from him. He's got a little bit more fuel than Matt Psycho, but again, it's nominal. It's not even worth mentioning. And Skyjacker 14 seconds adrift of these guys, a lot more fuel. I think we saw him play in the longer game last week. Didn't quite work out for him. He had to come in for a second stop just to get those soft tyres on. I think he went 2 mediums, because the rule is you're only allowed to use soft once. You don't have to use them at all if you do not wish to. Daz there in sixth with those medium tyres. They're all about half a tank of fuel about now. Pat's doing well with fuel. He's 6 seconds adrift from Daz, and now he's just got to get his head together, get back in the game. He was doing beautiful laps at the beginning. He's on those soft tyres, so he may have to pit a little earlier than those guys. And Kale, 28 seconds. He's really hanging that Toyota out there, is Kale. So IR Graham absolutely smooth as a baby's bum, with a Racer Brown trying to hunt him down. A 34.2 from Racer Brown, which lets Matt Psycho get very close. 2.5 seconds now for Matt Psycho, and we saw Matt Psycho absolutely blitz it last week around, was it Saint-Croix? So Binko in fourth. He's maintaining that 15-second gap ahead of Skyjacker, who's only 2.5 seconds ahead of Daz. Daz doing a 34.4 last time around, with Skyjacker a 34.7. So I think Daz has got the pace on Skyjacker. He's just got to get his head down, crack on with those lap times again. That 52 really hurt him. Oh, well, that wasn't really his fault. Pat off the track. This is working for Kale. Kale thinking cracking stuff. They haven't hit a sector yet to see the time drop, but we saw Pat losing his Toyota. Like I said, it's his first race. He's off again. Just chill, Pat. Just all cool, all gravy. Oh, he's off again. He's just too much pushing. Getting angry in that car, driving it angry. These cars are very finesse. You have to be at one with them. You can't drive them angrily. He's still got 20 seconds on Kale. So, just needs to screw his head back on, get it back in the game. IR Graham, 14.8 second lead on Racer Brown now. Racer Brown only less than 2 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho really starting to draw Racer Brown in. Sat on board with Matt Psycho's Porsche. 21 minutes into this race, lap 14 of Monza for round 3 of the HPEC. And we're having a cracking time here. Absolutely. It's been like a sprint race more than it has been an endurance race so far. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and all of that jargon for the YouTube world. They love it. Matt Psycho 1.5 seconds now behind Racer Brown. He's really closing in. Racer Brown, we don't know if Racer Brown is fuel saving. at this point. He's got half a tank of fuel, so he's got better fuel than Matt Psycho at this point. IR Graham, he's just under half a tank. He's around about the same as Matt Psycho. And Matt Psycho's probably burnt a little bit more fuel than the two guys ahead of him. Binko just under that halfway mark at 22 minutes, so he might be trying to push for a one stop there. Binko edging it. They need to be able to get it to 45 minutes, I believe. Jim in the chat saying, evening all, these cars are so much fun to drive around here. Oh Jim, you're rubbing it in because I want you there, not here. Although I do appreciate you joining and watching and chatting, but I like to see you drive. So IR Graham, 15 seconds now ahead of Racer Brown. Racer Brown only 1.8 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho trying to draw in that Toyota. Binko, I think he's doing a little bit of fuel saving out there, trying to think clever. We saw Skyjacker doing that last week, and it may have worked for him, but he said there was just a couple too many mistakes in post-race debriefs. Daz not too far behind, only 2.5 seconds behind Skyjacker. His fuel's looking quite healthy on those medium tyres. Pat, we saw having a bit of a spin, so he's 24 seconds behind Daz now, but he's still 27 seconds ahead of Kale. Kale having another tough one in the parabolic. It looks like he's gone full ghost. No, he's back again. So Kale getting used to these hybrid cars, and it looks like IR Graham's just overtaken him, hasn't he? Yes, I believe IR Graham must have just lapped Kale. Unbelievable. Racer Brown in second spot. He's edged a little bit more time out from Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho there, he's starting to really get through that fuel. Is Matt Psycho? That's definitely a two-stopper for Mr. Psycho in this race. Racer Brown, it's debatable how long he can go. He might be able to, as can IR Graham's doing okay with fuel as well. They have the option to be able to go for a one stop, whereas Matt Psycho, he has definitely made his choice early doors. And he is burning through that Castrol. I can't see it. I can't see a Elf. He's burning through that Elf oil. Binko in a fourth. 10 seconds adrift from Matt Psycho, but he's got about similar fuel levels as 1 and 2, so he has the option if he wants to go long. Skyjacker, oh, he's doing well. Maybe he's going for the similar to last week with his one-stop strategy. He's 4 seconds ahead of Daz now. Daz dropped 2 seconds on Skyjacker in that last lap. Skyjacker at 33.7, with Daz pulling a 35.4. Pat in 7th for 35.8 for him, with Kale just managing a 37.5, crossing the road, crossing the line, not crossing the road. IR Graham 15-second lead on Racer Brown, but Racer Brown, he's just trying to debate whether or not to burn the fuel to stay ahead of Matt Psycho. I think Kale's had another whoopsie. Here he goes. I saw some dust and dirt getting kicked up in front of Racer Brown. So this is interesting. They're going to have to come across Kale, Racer Brown and Matt Psycho, and they're very close together, less than 2 seconds. So hopefully they will catch Kale in a straight part of the track. If it's in a chicane or anything, that's going to be very awks for everyone concerned. And Matt Psycho in third, 1.8 seconds. Matt Psycho down to a quarter of a tank of fuel. Racer Brown still doing very well with his fuel at the moment. Adam in the chat saying, don't give up, Kale. Keep going. Go on, Kale. You can do it. Psycho. IR Graham leading the way. Binko to 11.4 seconds. I think Binko really starting to ease off that fuel consumption. Turned his engine right down. He's going for a long one. Racer Brown then. We still haven't seen Kale. No, he's all right at the moment. He's quite ahead of him. They're not catching him just yet. Racer Brown 1.8 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. Binko dropping down to about 12 seconds. Matt Psycho does his fastest so far in the race with a 33.430. Proving those mediums have still got a lot of life left in them yet. Racer Brown looks like it looked like he was struggling to get out of the chicane there, but it seems to be okay. Not much distance lost. I must have just caught him at a weird angle as he was accelerating away. IR Graham absolutely blinding out there. He's down to nearly a quarter of a tank of fuel. Racer Brown doing really well. Again, I can see that dust getting kicked up by Kale. He just likes to kick up the dirt, I think. Binko, 12.6 seconds. Binko, I think he's really committing to that one stop now. Easing off, but he's going faster than he's been already, so maybe, I don't know. Skyjacker in 5th. 13 seconds behind Binko, 21 seconds now. Daz really had a rough lap, that last lap, at 51.8. He's not on an out lap, so he hasn't pitted. Pat, some 15 seconds behind Daz now, 26 seconds ahead of Kale. And Kale still ahead of 2nd and 3rd, but strategy. What are everyone going to do? IR Graham there, a quarter of a tank of fuel. Racer Brown, a little bit over a quarter of a tank of fuel. Matt Psycho, just under a quarter of a tank of fuel. Binko, just over a quarter of a tank of fuel. Skyjacker, he's just under half a tank of fuel. Daz, just over a quarter of a tank of fuel. Pat, just under half. Pat can go really long in this race. Jim in the chat saying the Audi is a thirsty girl around here. And there you can see IR Graham having to deal. He's going to have to go with a 2-stop. We're not even at 30 minutes yet, and he's only got a quarter of a tank of fuel left in his car. He's 16 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. I don't know what a pit stop will cost us until we see someone pit. So we're all waiting for bated breath to see who is the first one to come in and grab fresh rubber and some fuel. It looks like Matt Psycho may be the one. He's used the most fuel out there so far. Binko 14.6 seconds behind them now, but still he's just above a quarter of a tank with 15 minutes to go before that one stop window. It's going to be tough to make that car reach that long. I think the 2-stopper might be the quicker way today. It depends though. It all does depend on how long that pit stop takes you, but it's a pretty straight line, which I suppose at full throttle for these guys, 180 odd miles an hour, stopping on a straight line, they're going to lose a lot of time. We'll have to wait and see. So Racer Brown 1.5 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho now, and they've dropped Binko by nearly 15 seconds. But I think Binko going for a one stop. I think Racer Brown's going to go long in myself. I think he's going to try and get as close to one stop and see how the second half of the race goes, and see if he can fuel conserve, if he's got a bit of space around him. IR Graham, I think he tried. I think he's just gone full on all the way. He's not messing around. Matt Psycho also balls to the wall to try and get back up with the leaders. Oh, it looked like Racer Brown kicked up a little bit of dust then. Matt Psycho will be pleased to see that. Binko there in for 15.5 seconds behind Matt Psycho now. Only 10 seconds ahead of Skyjacker. Skyjacker started to make an impression, and here comes Daz. Daz the first to make a pit stop. He's still got a quarter of a tank of fuel. This is more about tyres than it is about fuel, and there we can see Pat could go all day long. He might, he's got those soft tyres though, so they're probably starting to really get chewed up. But he goes around again, goes ahead of Daz. And keep an eye, and he's fueling up at the moment. So IR Graham continuing on past the pits. Let's move to put a lap on Daz, I guess. Or is that Daz just ahead on the track again? I think it is. I think Daz is out in 7th. So he's got out of the pits ahead of Kale, but Kale 16 seconds adrift from Daz now. Daz hasn't fulfilled. He's only put half a tank in that car, and he's put his racing softs on. So Daz is going to go out there, do some qualifying laps, see if there's anything he can do with his race so far, turn it around somewhat. He's only 5.5 seconds behind Pat on those old racing softs. They're 20 laps old now, so they must be feeling it. IR Graham catching these guys up, still 16 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. Racer Brown maintaining that 1.5 second distance from Matt Psycho. But Matt Psycho, he wants this championship. He is the reigning HPEC champion at the moment, and he aims to keep that title. Binko in 4th. He's heading the championship so far this season, but in 4th place. What can he do? We think he's trying to make a one-stop happen, but he might just not have enough fuel in that car to get him there, and we will see. Skyjacker we've seen catching up Binko, unbelievably so, and his fuel is doing really well in his Toyota TS050 hybrid 2016. Daz is, Pat has pitted. Pat getting rid of those old soft tyres. They must have been atrocious to drive. He doesn't have to put that much fuel in, so Daz has moved ahead. He's still getting those blue flags for IR Graham, and he's 16 seconds ahead of Kale. Pat coming out behind Kale. Kale making a position up there, but he's still got to go in the pits, but his tyres are still looking quite fresh. The rears on that, that's because we keep seeing him hanging that back end out. That's why his rears are mullered. But Pat's come out just behind him on the mediums. He's going to have to get used to that lack of grip. As we see, is that Matt Psycho just coming past. So yeah, we've got back markers all up around the place. And Virtual Racers Club Racer Brown is 2 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. He's just coming across Kale, is it? I believe it is, just coming across Kale. Matt Psycho having to get past Pat. Skyjacker is up. Where's Binko? Oh no, Binko. Looks like he's come. Oh, and it's reset him after he's sorted himself out. Oh, what a mean thing GTSport can be. So into the first chicane, and he just went straight on. Just looks like he missed his brakes totally. Then he got put back on track, and that's where we must have caught it from. So Binko dropping down into 5th place, and then he gets put back on track again. What a weird thing happening to Binko out there right now. And now Binko is in 5th. He's ghosted at the moment. It seems like he's got some issues in that car. IR Graham, meantime, has come into the pits. He is pretty low on fuel. So is Matt Psycho. He's on the rim, and he's just behind Kale. Racer Brown making it past Kale. 1.9 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho's going to drop it into the pits this time around, and Racer Brown stays out there. He's got the fuel. Why not? So IRG and Matt Psycho are in the pits. Skyjacker making his way around, just coming up into 4th place after Binko having some issues in that first chicane. He said he might have some internet issues. I don't know if they're starting to creep in to his race now. 35 minutes in, that is cruel. Racer Brown 13.6 seconds ahead of IR Graham. IR Graham has gone for another set of medium tyres and a full tank of fuel. 35 minutes into this race, so that, I think, unless he can really squeeze out that fuel tank, is a 2-stopper, as is Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho short-filled it. Matt Psycho's put the soft tyres on. He's gone the same way as Daz. He's only put half a tank, well, 3/4 of a tank in, and he's put the racing softs on, and he is on the move. He's still 16.3 seconds behind IR Graham. So it looks to me that they lose around about 30 seconds, just under 30 seconds for a pit stop. And Racer Brown 13.7 seconds ahead of IR Graham. He's not racing IR Graham today. It's Matt Psycho he wants to get back out ahead of, but Matt Psycho has put those soft tyres on to try and stop that from happening, so he can get some great laps in there and get ahead of Racer Brown when Racer Brown does finally pit. Skyjacker there, still out there in 4th. Racer Brown has come in. He hasn't left it too long. Probably realises what Matt Psycho's up to. They don't get no intel, but maybe if they're listening to me. Adam says, isn't Binko first? Adam says, yeah, Binko 36 points and Psycho 34. Yeah, sorry, Matt Psycho won last season. He won HPEC3, so he's the reigning champion. And Binko is the championship leader. So IR Graham then out there, 12.3 13 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. Adam in the chat saying BT internet has had some issues this evening. Even I'm suffering from just watching YouTube. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. That might be me. I have that effect on people. And Matt Psycho has closed that gap right up to Racer Brown. Binko then. Yeah, it looked like something was stuttering when he was stuck in that first chicane. It wouldn't surprise me if that was an internet thing, because it looked like he just couldn't move anywhere. It looked like he was a bit stuck. So Binko being beaten. He's against the internet and Skyjacker. 12 seconds now. He's 37 seconds ahead of Daz. Every point will count at the end of this championship. So hopefully the internet will let him continue, even if it costs him a spot or two. IR Graham 15 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho really pushing. So Racer Brown did come out behind Matt Psycho, but he's gone for medium tyres and more fuel. Oh, sorry, I missed all that. So Matt Psycho, yeah. Matt Psycho, he went in a lap or two earlier than Racer Brown. He put the soft tyres on, short filled, 3/4 of a tank, and then he went out there and did some absolutely humdinger of laps. Well, we haven't quite seen yet, because he's only done his out lap. And Racer Brown, he has come in, but he's put the medium tyres on. So hopefully he's hoping Matt Psycho burn his tyres out and he'll come back to a Racer Brown. He's 16.2 seconds behind IR Graham. It doesn't look like there's nothing that anyone can do about IR Graham this evening after round 2. I know he was slightly annoyed with his machinery at the end of that race. So, ooh, some smoke getting kicked up somewhere. Oh, it must have been Pat. Pat getting the blue flags. IR Graham catching a Pat up now. He's behind Kale. Kale still hasn't been into the pits yet. Kale doing a great job. He is looking to try and make that one stop happen. 38 minutes. They've got to get to about 45 minutes, remember. Binko also, but he's low on fuel. I think he's going to have to concede that one and come in a little bit early. Skyjacker, he's still got some fuel left on board. The one stop is still looking good. He's 27 seconds behind the leader. I'm telling you, he's 27 seconds, but he's got a pit, and that'll put him another 30 seconds, so he'll be a minute behind IR Graham. I was getting panicky then, because it is 30 seconds for a pit stop. IR Graham's only a pit stop ahead, but he's already had his pit stop. But the one stop, and I think Binko will have to pit earlier. I don't think he's going to get quite to that one stop place. Daz has already pitted. He's on the middle. Oh, look at that, 33.2 from Daz. He's on a massive push. Kale in 7th, still not pitting yet, and Pat we saw pit earlier. And he's just getting used to those medium tyres, I think. No grip on the medium tyres, absolutely nothing. So IR Graham is leading the way from Matt Psycho by 14.8 seconds. So Matt Psycho closing in on IR Graham at this point in the race, but that's because Matt Psycho, I believe, is on those soft tyres. And how come we saw Pat make them last about 20 laps, so they can go the distance. There goes Binko. We knew that he could not make it halfway, but he had a jolly good go at it. Skyjacker still plodding on, a couple more laps, and he can get rid of those old tyres, get himself back in, get himself back out there. It's a battle with Binko for Skyjacker today, and possibly Daz, who is roughly a pit stop behind those guys. Binko back out again. He's short fueled, put racing softs on. That's the threat to Skyjacker. This is the threat. Binko is going to go for a short stint in the middle. Ooh, he's not quite got it right in that first chicane. Oh, the game is being rotten to him in that first chicane. It really is. It's being cruel. But that is the battle. He's going out there to do a quick short stint while Skyjacker still has to eke that fuel out. And he can't go too fast. 35s, maybe 34s, where we might see Binko touching into the 33s. IR Graham 33.2 there on those medium tyres, and no stress from IR Graham, smashing out those lap times one after another. Look, 33.2, 33.0, 33.7, 34.7. Well, that was his out lap of 34.7. And that Psycho 32.7. He's got the fastest lap of the race so far with a 32.9 before that. He's 3.5 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. Remember, Racer Brown on those medium tyres, 34.0 last time around from Racer Brown, and it's all about the tactics here and who can work it out at 42 minutes into this race. Who is doing what? We've already had IR Graham and Matt Psycho pit and Racer Brown. Skyjacker yet to pit. It looks like he's going to have to soon though, because his fuel has gone red. Binko in 5th. He's had a pit, but he's short-filled. He's put the softs on, and he's going for a bit of a qualifier. Daz out there in 6th. He's pitted. He's also doing a shorter stint on those soft tyres to try and pull in some time. Kale, 20 seconds adrift from Daz. He's 11 seconds ahead of Pat. And he still hasn't pitted yet also. He's trying to get to that halfway point, and they're not far away. Him and Skyjacker, the only two to try and make it go the distance. Can they do it? And will it work for them? IR Graham on his 2-stop, 14.3 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. Mama Psych says internet. So I don't know what that means, if her internet's having a bit of an issue. But Matt Psycho 14.5 seconds ahead of IR Graham, with Racer Brown dropping 4.2 seconds behind. There's a yellow flag. Who's that? Oh, that's Pat. It looks like Pat's just pulled over to let all the leaders through. And that's what I think has happened there. He didn't want to get involved. There he goes. He's on his way again. Is Pat? Yeah, he just pulled over. It was at the chicane. That's why I said it's the worst time to catch someone up in the chicane. So Pat opts in to pull over and let them all go through. IR Graham leading by 14.7 seconds. Matt Psycho, he's on an absolute push out there. He's pulled 4.4 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. Racer Brown on those mediums again. And we don't know if he's fuel saving, if he's fighting. He won the first round and did an absolute awesome job. Matt Psycho winning the second round. It looks like IR Graham throwing his hat in for the third round. Binko is leading the championship without a win to his name, but he's consistent and he's up there in that relentless Toyota Porsche. So Binko, he's only 2.9 seconds ahead of Daz. So Daz on that push with those soft tyres has pulled into Binko. He's not too far away, but we think Binko's going to do some absolute barn-stalking laps. Jim in the chat saying Skyjacker will need to put mediums on for a one-stop, and I don't think the softs will last. No, but that's what he did last week. He didn't use softs. He went for 2 stints of mediums. The rules are you can only use softs once in the race, but it doesn't say you have to use them. They're not mandatory. It just means that if you do use them, you can only use them once. So, but Skyjacker did come in last week anyway, because it just wasn't quite enough. There was a couple of people behind him had pitted and put softs on, and they were catching him up, so he had to pit and put softs on. But yeah, he tried to make a one-stop work last week, and he looks like he's going to do it again. I presume he's going to put the mediums on again. His fuel is right on the edge. He's still quite a way in this lap to go. Binko's 39 seconds. We said it's 30 seconds a pit stop. Binko doing a 33.008. He's pulled a second away from Daz, even though Daz has done a 33.4. So tight stuff out there between Binko and Daz there on a right fight. There's 39 seconds adrift of Skyjacker. We think it's 30 seconds for a pit stop, so it might be Binko still 9 seconds adrift after Skyjacker has pitted. But Skyjacker will be on those medium tyres. Kale has finally come in. He was on a nothing, but we are at 46 minutes, so we're halfway through the race, and that one-stopper might work for Kale. He's ahead of Pat. Can he jump Daz? With Daz on a push with Binko to try and get ahead of Skyjacker, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough one. And Pat has got himself back ahead of Kale in the pit stops. There goes Skyjacker. He's just about made it. What fuel was he on? 0%. Kale was on at least 1%. Kale left the pits now as Skyjacker pulls up to his box, changes his wheels. It's Binko we should be watching. Binko coming around. He's coming up to the Parabolica with Daz just behind him, 4 seconds behind. And Skyjacker's still sitting there fueling up. He needs to top that car right up to the brim. And Binko on a push. He's got those soft tyres on, as remember. So even if Skyjacker does come out in front, which he has done by nearly a whole straight, Skyjacker's still on the medium tyres and he's still got to get that fuel to last. And Binko on those soft tyres will catch up Skyjacker along with Daz. And that battle will be fought out later. Oh, we've got a media. Oh, Skyjacker's made a mistake straight away into the chicane. So Binko has moved up into 4th place. And like I said, Binko has got to try and run for a whole pit stop ahead of Skyjacker. Skyjacker on those medium tyres again. Daz only 2.2 seconds. We'll have a look up here. IR Graham is only 12.9 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho chipping away at that lead that IR Graham has built up in the first stint. Matt Psycho is 5.8 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. Racer Brown doing very well with his fuel. He put the mediums back on as Matt Psycho put the softs on. Binko also on those softs and he's on a flyer, but he's nearly 50 seconds behind Racer Brown now. I don't think there's any chance of Binko seeing that podium again in this race, but Skyjacker 3.6 seconds behind them. Skyjacker has got to ignore all these cars around him on the soft tyres. They'll come back to him when they pit. Skyjacker's just got to think of his strategy and stay calm and not be concerned about the soft runners around him. Daz on those soft tyres catching up with Skyjacker, 1.6 seconds behind. Let's get on board with Daz in his Porsche as he chases down the Toyota of Skyjacker. Skyjacker on the medium tyres, full tanks, and Daz in 6th with the soft tyres and just over a quarter of a tank of fuel. Binko meanwhile pulling away from Skyjacker, and he needs to try and get nearly a pit stop, nearly 30 seconds ahead of Skyjacker to make a two-stop work for him against Skyjacker. So that's the time we have to check between the two of them. Daz, he needs to do something similar as well. He needs to catch up that medium clad Toyota ahead of him and get past and run away from it. With him using the soft tyre also, excuse me, he's going to have to finish the race on the mediums, although they will be fresher than Skyjacker's, so he can come back at Skyjacker if he does end up behind him on his pit stop, with Skyjacker probably be in a fuel saving mode with old mediums on. We'll just get through the Parabolica. Oh, he closed up a lot on Skyjacker there, but he's just struggling to keep control of his Porsche. As we come out of the Parabolica, he's trying to grab a toe. Okay, we'll stay until the first chicane. You convinced me. None of you did, but you know. So IR Graham leading from Matt Psycho. Racer Brown in 3rd place. Binko in that 4th. We're looking at Skyjacker ahead of us in Daz's Porsche as he's trying to chase down Skyjacker. He's got it down to less than a second between the two of them. IR Graham 12 seconds now. Matt Psycho nearly another second. He's pulled off of that lead of IR Graham, a 32.9 last time around for Matt Psycho. IR Graham 33.5. IR Graham half a tank of fuel on board. Matt Psycho somewhere between half and a quarter. Racer Brown half a tank of fuel as well on those medium tyres, 6.5 seconds behind Matt Psycho. Binko 49 seconds, he's closing in. He's got the fastest lap of the race at 32.524. He's just done a 32.7, so he's going in the right direction. He's already pulled out 7 seconds on Skyjacker. We said we'll have to watch that time between Skyjacker and Binko. Binko could do with a 30-second lead on Skyjacker before his next pit stop. He's only got a quarter of a tank of fuel. It is asking a lot from that Porsche. Skyjacker in the Toyota just ahead of Daz. Daz down to 2.1 seconds. We saw it close up to a second, but I think Daz's racing softs have seen their best days, and they are at the end of their life. Pat there, he's got himself, he's only just ahead of Kale. Kale losing it through the chicane. He's absolutely thrown that into the chicane. Beautiful stuff there from Kale. Bang up tidy. So Kale in the Toyota getting his head around these hybrid cars. Pat 3 seconds just surviving from Kale as they came up to the chicane. IR Graham 11.7 seconds. Matt Psycho even faster, closing down that distance. But is it any? He's got to pit again. Well, they've both got to pit again. And I think Matt Psycho's just trying to use this opportunity to try and make that time distance between the two of them even smaller for the last stint after their pit stops. Racer Brown 7 seconds behind Matt Psycho. He did a 33.1 last time around on his medium tyres. Matt Psycho a 32.8 on his softs. IR Graham managing a 33.1 on his mediums. Binko doing a 32.8 on his softs. Binko on an absolute push now. We saw he was 50 seconds behind Racer Brown. He's got it down to 48 seconds. But I don't think it's third place that he's fighting for today. He's trying to run away from Skyjacker on those medium tyres, who's on a one-stop strategy. And he's got to pull out nearly 30 seconds on Skyjacker to stay ahead of him after his pit stops. And it's a tall order. Skyjacker Daz is also in the same position as Binko, but he's only 1.7 seconds behind Skyjacker. And he may have to, well, he's got to get past Skyjacker because he's going to have to make another pit stop soon. Pat in 7th, nearly a minute behind Daz, and only 1.8 seconds ahead of Kale. Let's get on board with Kale. He's been driving wild this evening, so buckle up, ladies and gents. This is going to get crazy. It's going to get cray-cray sitting on board with Kale's Toyota. It's a lovely looking window there. Can't see very much though. He's not very fair on the drivers of Toyota. He slings that bad boy in, doesn't he, does Kale? There's no finesse between man and machine here. He's absolutely plundered his hybrid. Nothing in the tank whatsoever. Here he goes under brakes. It's built back up as he's trying to close in on Pat. 1.2 seconds behind so far. And he's gone again. Wow, the Toyota, he doesn't, his hybrid goes. It drops all of it, the TS030. Heavy on the brakes, and we saw that Kale was one of the ones that could get to one stop. Oh, it looks like Pat's made a small mistake, giving Kale a very good opportunity to close up to the back of the Gulf. Oh, what did Pat have? I can't remember. Pat had a Toyota TS050, so we've got Toyota TS030 versus a TS050. Whoa, Pat just trying to swing the car in front of Kale, but Kale is going to make the move any minute now. He's there up the insides. Pat's on those older mediums with Kale on the new softs. But Kale, you're not going to get those softs to last the whole half a race. We'll see how that works out. IR Graham 11 seconds now. Matt Psycho closing the gap even more. A 32.9 that last time around. He's now 8.4 seconds ahead of Racer Brown, but Racer Brown doesn't even look like he's using fuels. Neither does IR Graham, but Matt Psycho is burning through his nicely. Skyjacker there, he's ahead of Binko again. Did Binko pit? Oh my word, whoa, no, it looks like it's already happened. He's already down in 6th, behind Daz. Oh, what a shame. I don't know what happened to Binko. It looks like he's had a big one. And he's back behind Daz by 11 seconds. Binko on an absolute push as well. Look at those lap times. A 32, a 32, a 32, a 32, a 32, a 202. So, wow, he lost nearly 30 seconds in a lap. Gutted. Binko, man, you're awesome, but bad things keep happening. IR Graham there. 10 seconds now from Matt Psycho. Can Matt Psycho do this? Can he do the impossible? It's unbelievable stuff what Matt Psycho's doing out there at the moment. Racer Brown in third spot. He's nearly 10 seconds adrift of Matt Psycho and a minute ahead of Skyjacker. Skyjacker's one stop working out quite nicely for him in that fourth place with Daz 5.2 seconds. Daz's tyres are gone and his fuel is virtually gone. Binko also getting through his fuel. He was doing the right thing. He was 32.4. He's got the fastest lap so far. And he looks like he's been lapped by IR Graham. That's a stinger. Kale has pulled 7 seconds away from Pat. Pat struggling in these later days of the race, these later laps of this race. We're on lap 35. We've got 32 minutes remaining. We're nearly at the hour mark. In the chat, Adam saying, haha, crazy fight with Pat and Kale. That was nutty. And Adam also saying, Binko may have been subjected to the chicane reset. That is rubbish. It is bad. I'm trying to think. I run the Clio Cups on Saturday night, and I think I don't have resets on. I think I let them just, you've got to get back on the track. Because there's so many times it's happened to me. I've had an off, and I'm scrambling to get back on, and it feels like you're just about to get back on the track, and then it resets you, and you just think, oh, come on, I was there virtually myself. And it puts you at a standing start. Stops. Yeah, standing start, so you lose so much time. Whereas if you can sort of crawl on coming off the track, then you can sort of get up momentum and you're already moving. Anyway, 10 seconds it is between IR Graham and Matt Psycho, as it is between Matt Psycho and Racer Brown. Matt Psycho has done the impossible in this stint. He's been mighty. He shows you why he was HPEC Season 2 champion. Skyjacker there, making that one stop work for him. 4.5 seconds ahead of Daz. Binko there, 12 seconds, but he's still 46 seconds ahead of Kale, who's now 11 seconds ahead of Pat. Pat and Kale were in it together, but Pat having a couple of shady laps there. Fatigue setting in. Imagine Pat not racing too often for an hour and a half. He's up to an hour so far. It does surprise you. I only ever do sprint races, and then when I take part in the long races, I suddenly realise I'm a little bit knackered. It takes it out of you more than you think. I know it's just a computer game, but the concentration, it's easy to make a small mistake. So IR Graham 10.5 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho, but Matt Psycho's fuel has started flashing. Racer Brown there in a third spot. He's down to a quarter, the same as IR Graham. So IR Graham and Racer Brown pretty much the same strategy, I believe, and they're 21 seconds apart. Matt Psycho's going to pit first and do a longer second stint on his medium tyres, possibly, with IR Graham. He's going to go a little longer into this race. It'll be very interesting. Matt Psycho on those fresher tyres, pulling in time on these two. Oh, resets are off. Skyjacker, it's his internet then. Skyjacker, concentrate on your race, not chatting on YouTube. So, oh, there's another yellow flag ahead. No, it could be anyone. So no, Daz was in the pits, so I don't know who the yellow flag was for. Possibly Pat. Skyjacker, I haven't seen come past anyone yet. Oh yes, he has come past Pat. So yeah, the yellow flags. Possibly the wear for Pat. Daz has pitted. His fuel was low. He's put the medium tyres on. He's out in sixth behind Binko, ahead of Kale and Pat. And he's just behind third place, a Racer Brown on track. A lap down, but behind them. And he's probably thinking, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get involved. Maybe sit behind Racer Brown, grab a toe for a little bit, fuel save. It's all gravy. Binko in fifth place then, 5 seconds ahead of Daz. Did he pit? No, he hasn't pitted. He needs to pit this one, so that's going to put Daz easily ahead of Binko. Skyjacker's got that 30 seconds on Binko, so it looks like there's nothing Binko can do about Skyjacker. Skyjacker's gone in. Skyjacker has gone into the pits. That I don't get. So Skyjacker not one stopping after all. Maybe he's altering his pits because Daz has pitted. And maybe he fancies he's got the time and the space. He has got 30 seconds and he's gone for softs. He's gone for softs maybe for the last 30 minutes of the race. Interesting change of strategy. Matt Psycho's gone in also. He's got to get rid of those softs, top right up, put the mediums on, and rock and roll all the way to the end of the race. That puts Racer Brown up into second place. He's on half a tank of fuel, as is IR Graham. IR Graham 21.4 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. Matt Psycho in the pits at the moment. He's nearly a minute ahead of Skyjacker, so there's no chance of Skyjacker coming past Matt Psycho. Daz is 21 seconds adrift of Skyjacker after the pit stops. Binko's back in. He's going to have to put the mediums on and top up, but I think he'll be out before Kale, although Kale is coming down the straight, and no, Kale making up a position. No, Binko is back out. Sorry, Binko just ahead of Kale though, but Binko, he's got good speed in that. Oh no, Binko's going straight on again, and oh my word, I don't know what's going on with Binko this evening. His internet is really letting him down, if that's an internet thing. In that first corner, IR Graham 22 seconds ahead of a Racer Brown now. Racer Brown is 18 seconds. Remember, it's 30 seconds for a pit stop. So Racer Brown, and he's 17 seconds now between Matt Psycho. Oh, who's off the track? Who's off the track? Daz is off the track. Is there a reason? Was he just getting out of the way? I believe he might have just been getting out of the way. No, it looks like he's had a bit of an issue there. My word, is Kale going to catch Daz up? Kale, who's been swinging it around all evening. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's got off the track this time. I think he had a spin and then got off the track for Matt Psycho. But holy ghost out there, what's going on? Racer Brown, he comes in, he's got plenty of fuel. IR Graham's continued on. Matt Psycho on those medium tyres, burning it on around. He's going to jump back ahead of Racer Brown. There was only 18 seconds between them, 30 seconds for a pit stop. Racer Brown obviously not having to put as much fuel in. Oh, where's 3? There you go. But there goes Matt Psycho up into second spot, 40 seconds behind IR Graham. 30 seconds for a pit stop, so that is a net 10 seconds behind for Matt Psycho. Oh, it's all very interesting. There is Racer Brown. He's gained about 3 seconds on Matt Psycho because he's only 7.5 seconds behind him when he was 10 seconds when Matt Psycho pitted, but it's going up and up as Matt Psycho pulls away and Racer Brown gets up to racing speed. Skyjacker then, a fantastic fall for him, 41 seconds ahead of Daz, who's only 5.7 seconds ahead of Kale. This has got to be the comeback of the day. Here's Kale. We thought he was right out of it in the first lap. We lost 2 drivers along the way, Arido and Rivixter. Pat's clinging on there, 42 seconds behind Binko. Binko there, he's had a bit of a tough one. He was up there fighting for podiums, and he's had some weird technical issues in the chicanes. Kale now 4.5 seconds behind Daz. 5th place on the table for Kale at this point. This is some crazy racing. This is what happens when you race for an hour and a half, and we've still got 25 minutes left of racing, ladies and gents, so stick with it. 40.3 seconds ahead is IR Graham. He's getting purples, he's dropping the hammer. It's Graham time. Matt Psycho then, he's just, all he's got to do is keep on banging those lap times one after another, and hope he's closer to IR Graham when it comes out. Racer Brown on a push then to try and catch up Matt Psycho in 3rd place. And it's brilliant stuff there. Racer Brown catching up with someone in front. Who's that? Daz? Yeah, that's Daz. Daz trying to stay out of the way of 3rd place Racer Brown. Skyjacker. Daz has got Kale though, so he can't make too much of a meal of letting Racer Brown through, because here comes Kale. And Kale's racing, we've seen, he's been wild in these HPECs. He's been rallying in his Toyota. He read the rules wrong. He thought we were having a rally race. But he's put those softs on, and I think he thinks he's going to make the softs last for the rest of the race. And I don't think he's going to make those softs last for half a race. Jim in the now. Adam saying it has reset him twice at a standing start. Could be his internet. Adam saying now 3rd time on that chicane. Jim saying the cars are so clumsy in that first chicane coming out of pits. You have to brake so much earlier. So I don't know, Binko's having an internet issue with the first chicane because there is no resets. But we do keep seeing it resetting a Binko in that first chicane, so I don't know. I'm just downing my eye latte. Pat in the chat. Harder than I thought, these races. He's still him and Skyjacker. What is it? I can't even drive the bloody cars when I'm concentrating on it. And you and Skyjacker, you're YouTubing as you're playing. IR Graham. Oh no, I've ruined the in-car. So IR Graham, 41 seconds. He's still not pitted. Matt Psycho. I bet you I just pulled away at the right time then, didn't I? Because Daz, and there's Kale. Kale has moved up into 5th. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was drinking my coffee. Did you actually see they overtake? Did they overtake while I was watching? I was drinking my coffee and I was trying to drink it so quick I've spilt it down my chin. In the chat, so Pat, harder than I thought, these races. Jim saying the game will reset you if you're so far off the track. I can manage it. Haha. So I have Graham, 41.1 seconds. Matt Psycho pushing though. Pushing all the way to the end. He's made his second stop. He's done what he can do. He's pulled away from Racer Brown, but Racer Brown is closing in on Matt Psycho because it was 7.5 seconds. Now it's 6.3 seconds. 22 minutes left of racing. This is tantalising stuff. Skyjacker, well, he's not even on the one stop. He came back in. He's put some soft tyres on. I think he had the space behind him and thought, why not? Maybe he fancied a fastest lap, an extra point for himself. Who's got the fastest lap? Binko, 32.4. Kale in 5th. What a comeback. Kale looking like he was long gone out of it in that first stint. He's gone with a one stop. He's on those soft tyres though, so he's still got 21.5 minutes of hell to go, with Daz on those mediums just behind him, only 1.1 seconds. We know Daz has got good pace. And Kale has been seen throwing that Toyota around a bit this evening, so it's not over for Daz or Binko back there. 22 seconds adrift of Daz. And he's coming through the first chicane. I wince every time he comes to the first chicane because I'm scared something's going to go weird. No, he makes it through the first chicane, and Pat there in 8th. Pat hanging it out there. Is he YouTubing? Is he driving? Who's typing YouTube for you, Pat? You got one of those clever devices that you talk to it. I'd call it Kit. Put on YouTube. It's harder than I thought, these races. You're doing a cracking job, Pat. You did a brilliant job at the beginning. So IR Graham, he's got nice wear all over his tyres. He's getting the purple there. He's low on fuel, so he's going to be coming in at the end of this lap. And Matt Psycho, 41.7 seconds. He's out there just pushing away, waiting for IR Graham's pit to see where it all shakes out. Meantime, Racer Brown grabbing a toe off of Pat there to try and get closer to Matt Psycho. Pat staying way out of the way. Skyjacker having a cracking race there with his Suedo one stop that turned into a two stop. In that 4th place, followed by Kale. Some 47.5 seconds down the road, but Kale looking like he'd washed out on lap 1. And was just going to be using this as a test session, and the race has come back to him on his one stop, and he's up to 5th ahead of Daz in 6th, but Daz on the fresher tyres. And IR Graham, there he goes, he's gone in 1% of fuel he had left at the end. So Matt Psycho and Racer Brown will find out. He's going to be about 12 seconds ahead of him anyway when they come out, I believe. I don't know how it will. 19 minutes, he won't have to fill it up, will he? So it won't be exactly a 30-second pit stop. But Racer Brown and Matt Psycho chasing him down. Skyjacker, he's all on his own. He's got 53 seconds to Racer Brown, and IR Graham looks like he's out of the pits Oh yeah, he was always going to be out of the pits in the lead, but how far in the lead is he? How did Matt Psycho affect that middle sector with his soft tyre running? IR Graham's come out on the soft, so IR Graham is absolutely going to be on a push. And it's 17, 18, 20 seconds. 18 seconds. No, it's moving around still. It hasn't calmed down yet. 16 seconds. IR Graham at the moment is showing. IR Graham out there on those softs. He's going to be uncatchable now for the last 18 minutes, I imagine. 16.5 seconds. The computer cannot sort out the distance between IR Graham and Matt Psycho. Racer Brown 4.7 seconds behind Matt Psycho, so he did a 32.7 his last time around. 33.8 for Matt Psycho, nearly a second slower than Racer Brown. So Matt Psycho could be in trouble from the soft-clad Racer Brown behind him, pushing in the Canon Toyota, heading towards a Matt Psycho who's on a push to try and catch up IR Graham, only 16 seconds ahead, but IR Graham also on those soft tyres, half a tank of fuel, and he is on his way. Skyjacker 49 seconds ahead of Kale. Kale only 3/10 ahead of Daz. This is the one. Daz is going to make the move. Ooh. There we go. I got in the car too late. So Daz made the move up the side of Kale, and Daz back up into that 5th place. And Kale's tyres must be starting to hurt now. At this point, he's way off the track, wiggling around. 40 seconds. Here's Binko behind, and Pat further behind those guys. 14.8 seconds. Can Matt Psycho go on an absolute push? Racer Brown's just got the fastest lap with a 32.3. Matt Psycho only 3.5 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. He must be starting to get a little nervous now, but he used his soft tyres, remember, to get ahead of Racer Brown. Racer Brown was ahead in the first stint of Matt Psycho, and then, or he might not have been ahead, I can't remember, but Matt Psycho used the soft tyres to get himself a jump on Racer Brown. But Matt Psycho's getting purples as well on those medium tyres. So Racer Brown, Matt Psycho on an absolute push. The pair of them fighting each other for that second spot. Skyjacker just bringing it home. He looks like he's getting purples as well. Everyone getting purples right near the end of the race. Cracking stuff. But that 0.4 fastest lap, it could be what it all comes down to. Daz in 5th ahead of Kale. Kale only 8/10 behind him though. This race is not over for Kale in the Pace team. Toyota, Pace Toyota. He's coming back at Daz. I think Daz in the Porsche. No hybrid left in Kale, but he breaks into the corner and he builds it all back up again. And he's all over, but he's out wide again, and Daz stays ahead in 5th. Meanwhile, Matt Psycho 3 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. He did a 33.1 his last time around. Racer Brown doing a 32.5. Oh my word, those soft tyres working absolutely cracking for Racer Brown right now, and Matt Psycho, he's just got to keep his head down. There's 15 minutes left of racing. Can he stay ahead of Racer Brown? Skyjacker also on those soft tyres, 53 seconds adrift of Racer Brown, 52 seconds ahead of Kale. Kale's going back at Daz. Daz and Kale having an absolute superb race here near the end of this round 3 at Monza, and is not disappointed. Kale wiggling the accelerator down, trying to will his Toyota to move forward ahead of Daz in 6th place, but Daz is coming back around the outside, but can he make it stick? Daz is on them fresher tyres. Daz up the inside of the chicane. He can't be that brave. No. Daz's back end stepping out. Can he catch it? No, he can't catch it. Poor Daz is in the barrier. Binko though, he's some 50 seconds behind Daz, so Daz should be able to get that car reset and re-going. Here comes Pat to unlap himself from Daz, and Daz gets going again. And what a gallant battle there between Kale and Daz, and it might not be over yet. We know Kale likes to sling it into the corners. He might throw it off just yet. IR Graham then leading 17.2 seconds. IR Graham's got that fastest lap. He's made it into the 31s, a 1:31.896, and he has just put it out the reach of everyone. That Audi absolutely working like a blinder today, and this championship could not be any closer. My gosh, We've had one of each manufacturer win so far, with the Toyota taking round 1, a Porsche taking round 2, and now the Audi taking round 3 here at Monza. Matt Psycho only 1.7 seconds ahead of Racer Brown, and we must sit on board with Racer Brown for a lap of 2 as he tries to close in on the Porsche of Matt Psycho. If you ever want to come and be part of this thrilling action or any other races that we host, please go to our website www.virtualracersclub.co.uk. All the links are on the YouTube. I noticed if you're watching this, then you're on our YouTube. So if you go to About, I see that all the links are there to get to Discord, our website, all sorts, Facebook. So yeah, get involved. And even if you don't fancy racing, there's always other things going on. There looks like there's a new time trial starting just for us guys at Spa. I haven't looked at what car it is. I think there's 2 different cars. I think we're doing 2 different categories on that one. It looks very interesting. So yeah, if you're a bit nervous about the racing that goes on, it's 1.8 seconds here between Matt Psycho and Racer Brown. 12.5 minutes to go. But yeah, if you're a bit nervy about the racing, then have a go in the time trials, see where you stand up. No, I'm rubbish at them, but I have a go. And also, I don't know how to, there's something coming for you budding designers out there with our friends at Grid Finder. You're going to need a Grid Finder account, so get yourself signed up to Grid Finder in preparation. I don't know how you do that. I guess you go to their website and sign up somehow. But yeah, there's something for you budding designers, you people who like to throw a few stickers on a car. There might be something coming, so keep an eye out for that with our friends at Grid Finder. So, and then there's plenty of races you can sign up for. So it's 1.9 seconds between Racer Brown and Matt Psycho. It doesn't seem to be he's closing that gap anymore now. Matt Psycho's come alive there. Is IR Graham 31.8 again, as we're into the last 11 minutes, coming up to the last 11 minutes, just over 11 minutes to go. As IR Graham crosses lap 51. Wow, they've done a lot of laps here, haven't they? I haven't even been noticing that lap counter. Oh man, I'd be destroyed going across the line, seeing lap 51. Going through that first chicane 51 times. God, I can't imagine nothing worse. So IR Graham, 20-second lead on Matt Psycho as he crosses the line. 1.3 seconds ahead of Racer Brown. Racer Brown on a push now. He's going to be grabbing that toe of the Porsche anytime soon. Skyjacker in 4th ahead of Kale. Kale now 11 seconds ahead of Daz. We saw Daz having that big off. He's nearly 50 seconds ahead of Binko, who's nearly 50 seconds ahead of Pat. So they're spaced out the back there, but second and third is far from over. 1.4 seconds between the two of them. As we're into the last 10 minutes, this is nail-biting stuff. Bum-clenching racing here for Matt Psycho on those medium tyres. And Racer Brown absolutely caning it behind. Oh, we've got something new coming on Tuesday nights as well. Let's keep an eye out for. That's after the Porsche Sprint trophies, a new championship. So that'll be up for sign up soon. Max 5's coming back on a Friday night. I think they're full. Can't go and sign up for them. They don't take long. But watch out for YouTube on a Friday night come June or July. I don't know the date. You think I would? I'd be up together with these things, but I think it's June. Watch out. Friday nights, it's going to be all about the Mazdas, the little Mitas. Saturday still, we've got the Clio Cup running for another 6 rounds. HPEC, we've still got another 7 rounds of this. After this, 1 Porsches. The Porsche Sprint Trophy on a Tuesday night. Still got a few weeks left on that one. WRXs are starting next week, I think. WRX Challenge on a Thursday night. They are great fun. The Isle of Man TT cars. I don't know if that's full. You might want to have a look at the sign up. There might be a space or 2 left on that one. And that is what the summer lineup of the VRC is on YouTube. Oh, is that Matt Psycho making a mistake? That does look like to me Matt Psycho has made a mistake in that chicane. He was hanging it out a little bit too much, and Racer Brown down to just 0.4 of a second here, coming up to the last 8.5 minutes, and Matt Psycho has got to do all he can to stay ahead of Racer Brown on his soft tyres, and Matt Psycho hanging it out through that second chicane, giving Racer Brown the opportunity to rock up to behind him, and then he now is open to the toe. Racer Brown getting right on the back of that Porsche, enjoying a windless run at Matt Psycho. He's not going to do it in the Parabolica, surely, no. He stays behind, and Matt Psycho's still in second for now, but I don't know how long he can stay there from Racer Brown on those soft tyres. Racer Brown, he's looking like he's lining him up for the chicane. Matt Psycho going defensive, staying on that inside line, and it's now behind stubborn Racer Brown already ahead with those soft tyres. I don't think there was anything Mr. Psycho could do there. And he's just got to hope that Racer Brown's tyres are no look. Oh, I think Racer Brown may have lifted. Maybe there was a little bit too much contact in the chicane, and Racer Brown lifting off, letting Mr. Psycho go through. Flashman in the chat said, "Get on to the Clio Cup, people. It's great fun. It's good fun. I must say, I had fun. I know I was race 1 wasn't great for me, but race 2 was an absolute blast. I was dropping like a brick, but it was good fun doing it." So IR Graham then leading by 25 seconds now that Matt Psycho and Racer Brown have caught each other up, and they're battling it out. Skyjacker's some 55 seconds down the road. It seems like a crime to cut away from these two. Have a quick look. There's Kale, 58 seconds behind Skyjacker, 12 seconds ahead of Daz. Daz just bringing her home in 6th. Binko in 7th. Had a rough one in that first chicane, and there's Pat in 8th, and there's IR Graham, and this is the battle then for the last 6 minutes or so of this race between Matt Psycho and Racer Brown for 2nd and 3rd to finish off the podium. Cracking stuff. And there goes Racer Brown. This is where he made the move last time, down this straight. He's got no hybrid, and Matt's got loads as he comes down. Matt Psycho trying to break up the inside of Racer Brown. He just doesn't get it, those soft tyres, but the soft tyres are showing a little bit of red there, but no. There you go, Racer Brown a lot smoother that second attempt, and he pulls away from Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho on those medium tyres, there's not much he can do, but he's getting a tow from Racer Brown. If he can stick with the tow, and he's looking into the second chicane, but there's a brave move to make a move in there, and Racer Brown wiggling under acceleration, trying to get away from Matt Psycho. Let's on board on Matt Psycho now in that 3rd spot, chasing down a Racer Brown. We've got 5 more minutes of racing, 54 laps we've done of Monza in an hour and 25 minutes so far. That's a lot of laps, a hell of a lot of laps of Monza. These guys, they must be, their shoulders must be burning, their arms must be burning, their legs if they're on wheels, and like as I've said earlier, their thumbs must be dying if they're using controllers, and that is a shocker. But there goes Matt Psycho. He's trying to keep up with Racer Brown, but Racer Brown already 1.4 seconds ahead on those soft tyres. Matt Psycho, we saw using the soft tyres earlier in the race to great effect to get himself ahead of Racer Brown, but unfortunately it comes around, and now Racer Brown can use the soft tyres, and he's used them effectively to get ahead of Matt Psycho. IR Graham has had a cracking race. He's got the fastest lap. He's done everything right to take the win, nearly 30 seconds ahead of 2nd place. Matt Psycho in 3rd. Skyjacker, he was on that one stop, but he altered it up, went onto the soft tyres. The soft tyres starting to look like they're hurt now, but he's got a minute before Kale Cal 11 seconds ahead of Daz. Those tyres are really starting to hurt and that fuel is tight. He might have to turn the engine right down. Is Cale, and Daz might still be in with an opportunity here. Don't give up, Daz. Push, Daz. 3 minutes to go and Cale is really slack on fuel. He might have to lift a bit. Binko letting them through. This will be a race Binko would rather forget, I imagine. That first chicane, he'll be waking up in the middle of the night screaming about the chicane. And Cale, oh Cale, your fuel, man, your fuel. Daz, do not give up. Keep pushing all the way to the line, Daz, because Cale's fuel is very low. IR Graham making his way round. We're under 3 minutes left of racing. 2 more laps here at Monza, the temple of speed. And man alive, we've seen some worshipping of that speed today. Racer Brown on those soft tyres, pulling away from Matt Psycho. All Matt Psycho can hope is a Racer Brown putting a wheel off or something. Skyjacker, an absolutely cracking job for best of the rest in 4th place. Cale had the best race though. He's don't hang it out, and it's not over yet because his fuel is low. But Cale absolutely coming back into this race. There's Daz, 12 seconds now from Daz. He seems to be dropping away from Cale in these last few minutes, and Cale going blue. He's pushing. He cares not that his fuel is low. He's got the he thinks the quicker he gets to the line the better, maybe. But I'd be slowing down if I was Cale. Try and let that clock run out with 11 seconds to Daz. You don't want to run out of fuel on that last lap. That will be wrong. So IR Graham, lap 57. And this still might not be his last lap. He might have another lap to do after this. Racer Brown, 28 seconds adrift. This will be his next lap, will be his last lap. As will be Matt Psycho's. 57 laps, man alive. Skyjacker doing a beautiful job in that monster Toyota. Maintaining 4th ahead of Cale. I am really nervous about Cale's fuel. He's still got another lap to go and he's pushing like hell. But Daz now 10 seconds. Maybe Cale's noticed his fuel and he's going to have to start lifting. Come on, Daz, push, my friend. Push, 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 push. Cale, he's not got enough fuel to finish this lap, I don't believe. And if he has, he's got to really be short shift it. Is he short shifting? Yeah, he's short shifting. But that fuel is very low. Come on, Daz. Keep it together. IR Graham, 28.5 seconds. There's 30 seconds left on the timer. And I think IR Graham's going to see the line way before that runs out to complete a lap 58. There he goes. Off on a victory lap. As Racer Brown will reach the line, the timer would have run out and he will finish in 2nd ahead of Matt Psycho. How's Cale doing? He's still got fuel in that car. Maybe he is enough to get there. And Daz is not getting any closer. A 33.9 last time around for Daz. 34.7 for Cale. Sorry, here comes Racer Brown to cross the line. In 2nd spot, hard fought. Well done, Racer Brown. Matt Psycho, brilliant stuff there between Racer Brown and Matt Psycho. Take Kaboo, my son. Matt Psycho in 3rd. Skyjacker bringing her home in 4th. That monster Toyota is quite away from the line yet. Cale there in 5th, and that fuel is so on the brink, but he's coming across the line, so I don't think it's going to matter. And here comes Cale to finish. How is Skyjacker still going around? But there you go, Cale in 5th, finishing. And Daz around there in 6th. Where is Skyjacker? Oh, he's still down there. So Daz coming around to finish in 6th place. Binko is coming around the line now to take 7th. Ahead of Pat, who is just ahead of Skyjacker. So Pat going across the line in 8th. Well done, Pat. There goes Skyjacker for 4th. And then IR Graham we see coming down, doing a victory weave. Don't do it. You naughty boy. And there he goes. Great victory from IR Graham. So IR Graham takes the win from Racer Brown. Matt Psycho in third place. Yay! Aloft goes the cup for the win here at round 3 of Monza for IR Graham. Congratulations. Who got the fastest lap then? Was it Racer Brown in the end? Let's go and have a look at those race results before we wrap it all up. IR Graham got the fastest lap with a 31.689 on lap 50. Man alive, they did like 58 laps of that. In the chat, Bunting saying, I agree with Flashman. Clio Cup is quality. Adam saying, thank you for the commentary thingy, that's my pleasure. And Skyjacker says, I've melted. I'm not surprised. Oh, that was shocking. That was unbelievable racing. So IR Graham takes the win from Racer Brown, who stole it from Matt Psycho at the end there. Matt Psycho getting third spot. Skyjacker in fourth with Kale in fifth. Kale, the comeback kid of the race. Daz in sixth with Binko in seventh with his internet issues and first chicane issues. I think Binko's throwing something across the room probably right now, or kicking something. Pat in 8th, and then we had Rido, he left the room, was 9th, and Rubik's left in 10th. Now breathe. You can all go and relax, everyone. Flashman saying epic race, well done all. Pat saying wow, first race over an hour. Really enjoyed the first few laps. Wasn't expecting anything other than last. Really enjoyed that. Pat, I think you did great, man, especially early doors. Brilliant stuff. Rido, Clio Cup is class, to be honest. Oh, thanks, Rido. And Pat saying an hour and a half on a controller is hard work. I imagine you've probably got the claw now. Adam in the chat saying Binko is most likely screaming Hail Mary. Yeah. Hoo-wee. So that was round 3 of the HPEC at Monza. Don't forget to join us, and next week there's plenty of other racing in between that, but as we're on the HPEC, I'll tell you what next the round is. It's going to be at the Red Bull Ring. Can you imagine how many laps we're going to do of that in an hour and a half? Wow. Good luck, chaps. Good luck. Is it in the wet? I don't know. I don't think it's in the wet. I don't think they're that mad. So join us next Sunday for the Red Bull Ring for round 4 of the HPEC3. That table is going to be very interesting. It's going to shuffle around a little bit, the championship table. Can't wait to see that. Oh, Skyjack says it is in the wet. And Rido says, so yeah, wet Red Bull next week, guys. Oof. Oof. Rido says, I'm busy. Pat saying, it is wet, will be very fun. Oh, we're going to see some pirouettes then for next week. Can't wait. If that was, they were slinging them off left, right and centre here at Monza, and it's just straight lines at Monza. Can you imagine what it's going to look like in a wet Red Bull Ring? And Rido said, yep, very busy at 8 PM. Skyjack says, oof, indeed. And Binko says, that's my knee cooked. Oh, Binko, man, I'm sorry, man. It was the race from hell, wasn't it, really? Started so well, and just what could go wrong went wrong for you. Heart bleeds for you, man. You had a Bottas today, didn't you, man? It's not fair. Mama Sykes says V to you too. And Skyjacker says, oh man, did wonder. Right then, yes, we'll wrap it up. So catch us next Sunday at the wet Red Bull Ring. Don't forget, we've got other racing. Clio Cup will be round 2 of Clio Cup will probably be Monday night live. Well, not live, but me doing it live on a replay. Tuesday night we've got the Porsche Sprint Trophy. Thursday night I think we've got round 1, the start of the WRX Challenge, which is fantastic. You've got to join us for that. Friday, I don't think there's anything on this. Oh yeah, Friday's the World Series, the last one, round 4 of the World Series. It got delayed a couple of weeks ago and it's coming back, so keep an eye out for Friday Night Live racing. And then again Sunday we're back to where we started. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and all that jargon. Adam in the chat saying bye all, see you next week. You're not going to wait for the name, Adam? the best part of the broadcast, dude. Alright, I was your broadcaster and your commentator, Justin Hermouth. Okay, thank you. Bye.